my loves, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jess from BehatiLife. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is your weekly astro and intuitive forecast for the week of June 18th. Now, before I go into what the charts are showing, because there's a lot of events, a lot of astrological events that are happening this week, there is this message that is coming through that I wanted to share with you guys first and foremost. And the words that I wrote down as I was preparing for this reading were, I am divine love. And it makes a lot of sense that that's what came to me as I was pulling the chart, because today is the day, June 18th, that I'm filming this, that Neptune goes retrograde. So Neptune is this planet that is highly misunderstood within the cosmos and within astrology, because people always look at Neptune as such a negative planet, especially when it goes retrograde. But you guys know that I teach you and I want to encourage you to work with the elements, and that if you know how to work with the element, whether it be good or bad, negative or positive, then you're able to work alchemy for your highest and greatest good on your behalf, always and forever. That's what makes you different, and that's what makes the difference between a very awesome witch or law of attraction magnet or abundance magnet, or just someone who is firm and strong in their power and their belief and their magic. So Neptune across the board, yes, does it rule fantasy, but fantasy is not always a bad thing or a negative thing. Fantasy allows you to kind of move into a space where you can see life as beautiful. You could see life in pink. Actually, as I was growing up, that was my favorite quote that I resonated with the most. And it was, I see life in pink, la vie en rose. And the reason why I identified with it and the reason why it resonated with me so much was because a lot of my dream, a lot of my passion, a lot of my love came from such a heightened level that it made me vulnerable. It put me in a space where people could take advantage of me, take advantage of my heart, or take advantage of my artwork or whatever it was that I was working on, because so much of me was draped in the magic of Neptune. Now, the rest of the world is very realistic, and when I say realistic, I mean that they have this, I don't want to say jaded, but this perception of the world, which is, okay, the world can be a cold, hard place. And that's true, but the world can also be a very magical, ethereal space. And what makes that magic and what makes that higher level of vibrancy is the planet Neptune. So, interestingly enough, as I was growing up, as much as I was vulnerable, I was super protected, because the same planet that rules my vulnerability, that rules my heart and my creation and my creativity, also ruled my intuition and my ability to kind of sort through things if I took the time out to ground myself and to connect with myself and to prioritize my boundaries. So with Neptune, you have to be careful, because there's the potential for boundaries to kind of be crossed, because the boundary sometimes is not clear. So that's one thing that you want to be careful of with Neptune going retrograde. But back to what it was that I was saying before, when this message came through that says, I am divine love, what I see is this heightened level of intuition, fantasy, vision, love, magic, creativity that is going to exude from those people who hold those gifts. Now, I'm sorry for those of you guys who are bedded in practicality or are not creative spirits, are not intuitive spirits. That's not my fault that you don't have those gifts. And if you want to develop those, then take the time out and the energy to develop those gifts so that you too can have them as much as you can. But for those of you guys who are very sensitive, have heightened levels of intuition, empaths, healers. Sorry, my nose, you guys know, like when I start getting messages, my nose starts to tickle, and it's been tickling all day. It's actually kind of irritating. Like, it seems like I'm picking my nose, but I'm not, I swear. But for those of you guys who have heightened levels of gifts, when Neptune goes retrograde, this is when those gifts kind of run free. But at the same time, I need to tell you guys that you need to work to protect yourself in the form of creating boundaries and also grounding yourself, so that intuitively, when you start getting these gifts, that you're not lost. So that's another thing too, is that sometimes we kind of drift, we kind of get lost in the cosmos. We feel, I don't want to say directionless, but we feel like we're kind of floating. We're floating around. So what will help to kind of work with that and not against it is to spend time working on meditation to ground yourself and to protect yourself, not in a way that you need to be on guard or on defense, but just that you're listening to your intuition and starting off the day with foods that honor your spirit, honor your body, take care of you. You're not doing anything toxic, that you're making clear, defined boundaries of, okay, this line you do not cross. This is where I draw the line for myself. This is where, you know, this is my protective space. So as long as you're doing that, you're good. The message that came through while I was pulling the chart was, I am divine love. Neptune, when it is retrograde, it connects people. I mean, when it's direct, it connects people. But when it's retrograde, this is when you are getting these like, I don't want to say spasms, but kind of like lightning bolts in a lot of ways for many people where, and some astrologers are going to disagree with me, but that is because it's very easy for you to kind of get lost. Do you know what I mean? For us to get so caught in our intuition when Neptune goes retrograde, because we really do start to float. But if you're floating, and this, I hope that this makes sense. I'm trying my best to kind of word it so that it's simplified. Meanwhile, my nose is just tickling so hard right now. But if you're floating, right, if you're a normally grounded person and you start to float up, then this is, you can float to your destination. You can float to a space of heightened levels of creativity. You can float into a space of just attracting insanely compassionate soulmates, soul karma connected, twin flame type of love, dream jobs, just by allowing yourself to kind of float there, if that makes any sense. So astrologers there's going to be astrologers who have been doing this for years who may disagree with me, but I stand firm in my belief, and I stand firm in my studies, which shows that if you know how to work with the planets, you can make them work for you and not against you. Just like everyone freaks out when Mercury goes retrograde or Mars goes retrograde, which is going to happen on the 24th of this month, and we'll talk about that in my next video. But just like those planets go retrograde, everyone starts freaking out. The same thing happens with Neptune retrograde. And if you'd like me to make a video about Neptune retrograde in more detail, give me a thumbs up or comment down below, and I'll be more than happy to do that for you. But again, Neptune again connects to this heightened level of love and vibration and intuition and vision and creativity. And all of that comes from a pure, authentic, raw, and real space. The only way that you can allow that space to be magical and be limitless is by loving it unconditionally and giving it the attention that it deserves and needs in order to grow, to prosper, and to be fruitful. And that's what it is that I see, and that's why all of the dots are making sense and connecting to me now, or connecting for me now, because if you enter into a space where you realize that you are divine love and that these intuitive hunches and this creative vision that you have, or these feelings that you have within your heart, or the deepest desires of your heart, you know, start to kind of they start to emerge and kind of reveal themselves. The way to give them the space to kind of unfold is to realize how special and unique and authentic they are and shower them in your love and attention. Realize that you are actually divine love. That means that you are connected to the divine. That means that you're connected to a higher spirit. If you are connected to this divine love and this higher power, then through love, then the things that it is that you love and this expression, this feeling that you have in your heart and this creative vision that you have is coming from the divine. And it's up to you to kind of give it that space and give it the energy in order to paint that picture, or to put your heart out, or to be vulnerable, and while you do it, surround it in love, realizing that you are love and love comes from you. And what I see and what I want to tell everyone is that what you create during this time and what you see and envision for yourself and what you want for yourself, what you desire, take all of those things seriously and give them love. Even though people will look at you and be like, what are you doing? You know, be realistic. And some people have pessimistic points of view. It is what it is. That's their perspective. But when Neptune goes retrograde, this is a chance to give that vision, to give that seed this space to bloom, to blossom. And that's what I see, is the importance of your creativity, your heart's desires, your vision, your dream job. All of those things come from a space within you that is telling you that this is something that you want, and that although it may seem unrealistic, although other people may tell you that you're out of touch with reality, what you're really in touch with is the vision, the voice, the heart of the divine, and it is moving through your heart, like from the divine to the divine within. That's what it is that I see, and that's what I want you guys to see and recognize as I'm looking at this chart and the message that came through. The things that I wrote down that came through to me is, I am divine love. I have no need to prove anything to anyone. I don't need to be anything other than me. Me being who I am is enough. I am authentic. I am real. I allow myself to be authentic and real. And the more that I enter into this space, the more that I allow the divine love of the higher spirit to move through me. And that's magic. And that's amazing. That's amazing if you sit and you think about it. The other thing that I see is truth, realness, and authenticity. Those words came through. And soul equals connected to the divine. Your soul is connected to the divine, and your soul's purpose is connected to the divine. Your soulmate is connected to the divine. Your soul vision is connected to the divine. So the desires and the vision and the feelings of your heart are so important, so valid, and it's not for any human being or any physical limitation that you can think of to limit that. So that's what came through. I hope that makes sense. I know I feel like I repeated myself, but also keep in mind that sometimes when I'm channeling messages that I don't know all that's going to come through or how to say certain things, because I am only a physical human being just as you are, and it just comes through. So I do my best. But it does make sense that that's what came through for this week, because Neptune is going retrograde today. And that will set the entire astrological community ablaze, with everybody being like, don't enter into commitment. You're going to get lied to and cheated on. And you're you know, caught in fantasy and imagination, and get real and get realistic and get grounded. And it's like, shut up. Let me be dope. The only way for you to be dope is to know how to work your magic the way that you know how to work your magic. And you don't need anybody else in the world to co-sign the magic that you know is within you, the divineness that is within you, the dopeness that is within you, the vision that you have had, the love that you have felt, the things that you have been feeling, the path you need to take, the messages that you've been receiving, the signals, the symbols. You don't need to ask for the same sign again and again and again. The sign was made clear. And now it's time for you to paint that picture through intention, through vision, through focus. That's what I see. All right, now let's go ahead and talk about the rest of this week. So on the 19th, if you want a really good day to talk to people and to connect with people and to brainstorm and come up with ideas and think big and think large and have awesome conversations and meet with people, I'm actually putting a star next to this. I'm going to meet up with my buddy, and we're going to sit on the wall on Tuesday and just talk over snacks like we do, because the energy of communication and having like good vibes and positivity and optimism and optimistic energy is so good on Tuesday, which is the 19th. So go ahead and mark that. That's because Mercury is going to be trine Jupiter. Also, this is a phenomenal day to kind of submit a proposal, to have a meeting, to have a conversation, to have a dialogue, to write a blog, to start a blog, to put that blog out there, or at least begin to get get those ideas together. Why blog and writing and communication? Well, because Mercury rules all of those things. Jupiter rules the bigger picture and wants things to be larger than life. And when all of these things work together, what we have is someone who has the ability to think larger than the small box that we normally tend to think within. So I love the 19th for that, but I personally am going to be using that day to hang out with some of my friends after I'm done doing my work. On the 21st, this is again heightened levels of intuition and imagination and vision coming through. This is when people are like, I don't know what it is, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this. Even though I committed to this, I'm going to do this because intuitively, my intuition, my vibes, my guides, my angels are telling me that I should do this, and you do it and you get rewarded. So listen to your intuition always, but definitely on the 21st. Also, Sun on the 21st is going to be moving into the sign of Cancer. Cancer is highly receptive, highly sensitive. This is when we're like, who do I love? What makes me feel comfortable? What do I need? What are my needs? Emotional and physical. Also physical meaning like in our external, but in our internal physical bodies. External environment meaning like I feel safe when I'm at home. What do I feel safe at? Where do I feel like I'm at home? Where do I feel good? That's what I want to be within. And then also within, what makes me feel good inside, what makes me feel comforted. Those are the things that I want to be a part of. My friends, my family, and I want to eat good food. I want to drink good drinks. I want to have a good time. I want to laugh. And then at the end of the day, I'm going to pull back in. I'm going to spend some time with myself. I'm going to sit in the bathtub. I'm going to soak. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to Netflix and literally chill. That's what it is that I see when the sun moves into the sign of Cancer. For a lot of the water signs and earth signs, well, you know what? Everybody. I see heightened levels of sensitivity, but I've been saying this for a while. When it comes to sensitivity and emotion and receptivity, especially on the 21st, because our minds are very vulnerable when when Neptune is retrograde, and then you factor in the fact that Neptune and Mercury are going to be connected, and just the vibes that flow between the two of them can put you in a space where you're like, some people are highly creative and highly intuitive. Other people kind of get overwhelmed by these feelings and need a little extra time to themselves. And if that's the case, even if that's not normally you, it's totally a-okay. I predicted it here anyways, so at least you know what to expect. Mercury is okay. On the 23rd, Mercury is going to be sitting directly opposite of Pluto. This is tough, and what I'm seeing, because we're moving into this Capricorn full moon, and I've been seeing the effects of it for the last 4 months. Even though this full moon is not connected to the last 4 months, the 4 months kind of act as a catalyst to what will happen on the full moon in Capricorn on the 28th or 26th, I can't remember. Okay, the 28th at 12:53, and the video for that is down below, and also I just uploaded it, so if you need to see that, then there's that. But really what I see is, for some people, it's like people who get fixated. It's all about the mind this week. So much of the mind and how we perceive things and how we communicate, and conversations that need to be had. And I don't think that they're the easiest conversations to be had. I think in a lot of ways they're very emotional and they're very sensitive, and it's like tough things. You have to say certain stuff. You have to have a conversation with someone in order to like better understand them and better understand the relationship and the dynamic. And then that's when that full moon kind of hits. So, but I mean, definitely check out the video for the Capricorn full moon. So I definitely see that this tough like push-pull going on the 23rd that I want you to be aware of. It almost seems like some stuff can kind of like pop up out of nowhere, maybe unexpected surprise. You know, I didn't see that coming, but now that it's here, we have to talk about it. We have to deal with it. Also, I see a lot of people being impulsive. If there is a day to not push, let's say if you want to like make a commitment with someone, or if you want to like lock something down, the 24th is not, or the 23rd and the 24th and the 25th is not the day to do it. Because I feel like someone can just be like, impulsively just be like, no, this isn't for me. No, this isn't what I want. And they just break free, break out. I also see people being impulsive and erratic and unpredictable in a lot of ways, which isn't a bad thing, but it's tough when all of those pieces kind of fall together when you're trying to cement certain stuff. Also keep in mind that Saturn is retrograde, Pluto is retrograde, and the full moon is coming up. So there's not really a whole lot that's going to be cemented during this time. No matter how hard you try, still the planets, the cosmos are working to try and like restructure stuff. And even though it doesn't make sense to us all the time, just because it doesn't make sense to you doesn't mean that it's not serving a purpose, and it has an important purpose. And yeah. All right, so I hope that makes sense. I hope you guys enjoyed that intuitive message. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know what you're going through. Thank you so much for the shares of this video, for the thumbs up, for the comments. Yes, I read all of them. It's very important to me that I read them all. Thank you for your emails. Keep in mind that my emails have exploded yet again. So I'm doing my best to move through them. Yes, the shop is open. I might take a break with the shop this week. We'll see what happens. But I love you guys. Talk soon. Bye.